Hello to everyone joining us today. It's both a pleasure and a privilege to delve into a topic that, I promise you, touches each of our lives in more ways than one. That topic? Anger. Before you start reminiscing about the last argument you had, or the time you felt your blood boil in frustration, let's pause for a moment and consider something. Have you ever pondered the origins of that fiery emotion? Why, in certain moments, does it surge up, uninvited, often catching us off guard? The emotion of anger is as old as humanity itself. Picture this: across vast deserts, dense forests, and towering mountains our ancestors roamed. In those ancient landscapes, danger was a daily companion. Whether it was the looming shadow of a predator, or the challenge posed by another human competing for the same resources, daily life was an intricate dance of survival. In this setting, anger wasn't just a passing emotion. It was a necessary force, vital as the very air they breathed. It offered the jolt of energy needed to defend, to assert, and to claim. So, before we delve deeper, I want you to momentarily shed any negative connotation you may hold about anger. Instead, let's respect it for what it originally was: a tool of survival, a response to a challenging and often unforgiving world. Fast forward to today, and our world has transformed in unimaginable ways. We've erected cities with towering skyscrapers, built technologies that allow us to communicate across continents in the blink of an eye, and yet, within us, the ancient fires of anger still burn. Sure, the triggers have evolved. Instead of predatory threats, we now face daily stressors: gridlocked traffic, work pressures, personal disagreements, or even the simple disappointment of a canceled plan. Yet, despite its persistence, our understanding of anger remains, for many, on the surface. It's often relegated to the realm of negative emotions, something to be avoided or suppressed. But what if I told you that understanding anger, its origins, its triggers, and its pathways could unlock a deeper understanding of ourselves? Today's exploration isn't about demonizing anger or merely offering quick fixes. It's a journey into the heart of our shared human experience. We're going to traverse time, dip into biology, touch upon hormones, and even venture into the realm of personal psychology. By the end of this, my hope is that you'll not only understand anger, but also appreciate its complexity. For many of you watching, this might resonate on a personal level. Think of the last time you felt genuinely angry. Maybe it was a recent altercation, or perhaps a distant memory that still holds power over you. As we delve into the science and history of anger, I invite you to reflect on those moments, not with judgment but with curiosity. Why does this topic matter? Because, whether we admit it or not, anger affects our decision-making, our relationships, our well-being, and our worldview. Grasping its roots and mechanisms can be the key to harnessing its energy more productively. It empowers us to respond, rather than react, to choose understanding over judgment, and ultimately to create a more harmonious existence both within and around us. The evolutionary tapestry of anger. As we embark on this next chapter of our exploration, I'd like to take you on a journey back in time, a journey so far back that the world was unrecognizable. This world, inhabited by our early ancestors, was the canvas upon which the intricate tapestry of our emotions was woven. Among the most vibrant threads in this tapestry is the emotion of anger. Imagine, if you will, the daily life of early humans. Unlike the safety and predictability of our modern environments, their world was fraught with peril. The vast landscapes they roamed were home to predatory animals with piercing eyes and swift movements. Each day was a test of wit and will, as early humans contended with these predators, navigated the unpredictability of nature, and sometimes even faced challenges from other humans. In this backdrop, anger wasn't just a fleeting sentiment, it was a guardian. When confronted with danger, the immediate surge of anger equipped our ancestors with the vigor to defend their kin and kind. That rush of adrenaline, the heightened sense as it all served as nature's alarm system, alerting them to imminent threats and priming them for a fight or a strategic retreat. But it wasn't only about physical threats. As social creatures, early humans lived in closely knit groups, and within these communities, the dynamics of fairness played a crucial role. Consider, for instance, the sharing of food after a successful hunt. If one member of the group took more than their fair share, anger served as a mechanism to address this imbalance. In this context, anger acted as an arbiter of fairness, ensuring the stability and cohesion of early human societies. Moreover, the world our ancestors inhabited was not only about immediate threats or group dynamics. They faced daunting environmental challenges, harsh weather patterns, scarcity of food during certain seasons, or even the challenge of navigating unknown terrains. In these situations, anger provided the push, the indomitable spirit to overcome and adapt. When the cold was biting or food was scarce, anger against the odds propelled them forward, pushing them to innovate, adapt, and thrive. Reflecting upon this, it's essential to view anger not merely as a primitive or destructive force. It was a driving energy, a flame that lit the path in dark times, and a shield against the many challenges early humans faced. It's a testament to the adaptability and resilience of the human spirit, shaped and honed by countless generations of survival against the odds. In our modern world, the triggers of anger have morphed, but its evolutionary roots remain deeply embedded within us. Recognizing its origins can provide a lens, a perspective that allows us to understand its power and potential. Instead of shunning or suppressing it, we can acknowledge anger's protective intent and learn to channel its energy constructively. After all, as we stand here, beneficiaries of millennia of evolution, isn't it a profound realization that the very emotion we often grapple with today once played a pivotal role in ensuring the survival and success of our species? Navigating the neural labyrinth of anger. As we transition from the vast landscapes of our ancestral world, let's narrow our focus and venture into the most intricate and fascinating landscape of all the human brain. This organ, weighing just about 3 pounds, holds the secrets to our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. And when it comes to anger, the story unfurls deep within its neural pathways, revealing a dance of regions and chemicals that shape our responses. At the heart of our emotional reactions lies a small, almond-shaped cluster of nuclei known as the amygdala. Think of the amygdala as the watchtower of our brain. Its primary job, to constantly scan our environment for any potential threats. In the face of danger or perceived injustice, the amygdala springs into action, triggering a cascade of reactions that manifest as that all-too-familiar emotion, anger. Like a vigilant guard, it stands ready, always on the lookout, ensuring our safety and survival. However, our brain is not a one-player show. Enter the prefrontal cortex, situated right at the front of our brain. If the amygdala is our emotional watchtower, the prefrontal cortex is our wise counsel, our mediator. It's responsible for reasoning, judgment, and impulse control. When the fiery waves of anger wash over us, it's the prefrontal cortex that steps in, assessing the situation, weighing the consequences, and often advising calm over confrontation. It tempers the amygdala's alarms, guiding us towards a more measured response. It's the voice that nudges us to take a deep breath, to count to 10, or to walk away from a heated argument. Yet, the narrative of anger isn't complete without delving into the world of neurotransmitters, those chemical messengers that zoom through our brain, influencing our emotions and actions. Two significant players in the anger arena are serotonin and dopamine. Serotonin, often associated with feelings of well-being and happiness, acts as a mood stabilizer. When serotonin levels dip, our threshold for anger can be lowered, making us more reactive. On the other hand, dopamine, the reward neurotransmitter, plays a slightly different role. When we act on our anger, think of the satisfaction of snapping back during an argument. Dopamine is released, reinforcing the behavior and making it feel rewarding, even if momentarily. Weaving together the amygdala, prefrontal cortex, and these neurotransmitters, our brain's narrative of anger is both complex and nuanced. It's a choreography of regions and chemicals that, together, shape our unique responses to challenges and threats. But why is this neural journey important? Because understanding the machinery behind our anger demystifies it. It shifts our perspective from seeing anger as an uncontrollable force to recognizing it as a symphony of processes, each playing its part, each contributing to the grand orchestra of our emotional life. As we move forward, equipped with this knowledge, we are better positioned to be the conductors of our emotional symphonies, understanding the notes, the rhythms, and the crescendos, and ultimately, guiding them towards harmony. Deciphering the hormonal pulse of anger. As we continue our exploration into the intricate tapestry of anger, let's pivot from the neural circuitry of the brain to the pulsating rhythm of our hormones. These tiny molecular messengers course through our bloodstream, whispering secrets to our cells and influencing a myriad of bodily function. And when it comes to anger, their symphony is both profound and powerful. Let's begin with a hormone many associate with masculinity, strength, and dominance: testosterone. It's found in all of us, regardless of gender, albeit in varying amounts. Beyond its role in muscle growth or deepening voices, testosterone has a curious relationship with aggression. Elevated levels can amplify aggressive tendencies, turning minor irritations into roaring infernos of rage. Think of testosterone as the kindling, ready to catch the spark of anger and transform it into a blazing fire. It's not that testosterone creates anger from nothing, but rather, it can intensify and prolong those feelings when they arise. Then we have adrenaline, our body's very own emergency siren. The moment we perceive a threat or injustice, adrenaline surges, preparing us to either confront the challenge head-on or make a swift exit. This is the famed fight-or-flight response, an ancient mechanism designed to ensure our survival. With a rush of adrenaline, our heart races, our senses sharpen, and our muscles tense. It's nature's way of supercharging us, turning us into momentary superheroes, ready to face whatever stands in our path. Last, but certainly not least, is cortisol, often dubbed the stress hormone. When stress lingers, like the haunting notes of a sad song, cortisol levels rise. Unlike the immediate rush of adrenaline, cortisol operates on a different time scale. It's more about endurance than a sprint. Over time, sustained levels of cortisol not only keep us in a heightened state of stress, but can also make us more susceptible to prolonged bouts of anger and irritation. If adrenaline is the sudden thunderclap of a storm, cortisol is the relentless rain, persisting long after. Together, these hormones, testosterone, adrenaline, and cortisol, paint a dynamic portrait of our body's response to anger. They remind us that anger isn't merely an abstract emotion, it's deeply physiological, intertwined with the ebb and flow of our hormones. But why pause and tune into this hormonal symphony? Because by understanding the melodies and rhythms that play within us, we gain a deeper awareness of our reactions. We can begin to see that sometimes our flare-ups of rage or moments of irritation aren't just about the external triggers, but also about the internal dances of our hormones. With this knowledge in hand, we're empowered. We can discern between fleeting hormonal rushes and genuine grievances, and with that discernment, navigate the vast sea of emotions with greater clarity and grace. navigating the mind's minefields, unearthing psychological triggers. Now that we've delved into the neurological highways and hormonal undercurrents of anger, let's shift our gaze to the mental landscapes that shape our reaction. These terrains, sculpted by experiences, beliefs, and memories, are teeming with potential triggers that can ignite our anger. By understanding these triggers, we can tread with greater awareness and sensitivity, avoiding unnecessary explosions of rage. First on our journey is the delicate terrain of self-esteem. Picture self-esteem as a precious, fragile crystal within our minds. When we perceive threats or challenges to this crystal, be it criticism, mockery, or even a hint of disrespect, our immediate response can often be defensive anger. This is our mind's reflexive way of shielding our self-worth. It's the inner voice that roars in defiance, declaring, "I am worthy of respect." This kind of anger isn't always about the person or situation in front of us, but rather the age-old desire to protect our sense of worth and dignity. Next, we traverse the shadowy valleys of past traumas. Traumatic experiences, regardless of when they occurred, can leave imprints on our psyche like deep-set footprints in wet sand. When present situations resonate with these imprints, even faintly, they can provoke intense reaction. Enough in comment, a particular tone, or even a specific gesture can act as a haunting echo, triggering feelings of vulnerability and anger. It's not necessarily the present moment that's the issue, but the ghosts of the past that are suddenly brought to life. Lastly, let's explore the vast plains of expectations. We all carry with us a set of hopes, dreams, and desires, a mental blueprint of how we believe things should be. Whether it's the expectation of being treated in a certain way, ambitions for our careers, or even visions of our ideal relationships, these blueprints guide us. However, when reality clashes with these expectations, when needs go unmet, and hopes are dashed, frustration brews, often culminating in anger. It's the mind's way of grappling with the chasm between the world as we see it in our dreams and the world as it stands before us. Understanding these psychological triggers are self-esteem's defense mechanism, the reverberations of past traumas, and the dissonance of unmet expectations offers us a roadmap. With this, we can navigate our inner worlds with increased empathy and insight. Instead of being blindsided by unexpected eruptions of anger, we can recognize the familiar terrains and tread cautiously. And as we chart our course with this newfound wisdom, we're better equipped to diffuse potential emotional landmines, cultivate inner peace, and foster more authentic, understanding relationships with both ourselves and others. The echoes of our world, anger in the tapestry of environment and society. Beyond the intricate ballad of neurons, hormones, and mental constructs, there exists an expansive theater, where our anger is rehearsed and performed, the world around us, encompassing everything from the whispers of our childhood homes to the deafening roars of societal expectations. The environment and the society we inhabit play paramount roles in shaping our dance with anger. Begin, if you will, by journeying back to the sanctuary of early memories, to home where one first learns the language of emotion. Our upbringing, akin to the first brushstrokes on a blank canvas, can profoundly influence our anger's hue and tone. Were feelings freely expressed in your household, or were they bottled, locked away in silent vaults? A child who witnesses frequent outbursts may come to view anger as a tool for communication, while another, observing suppressed emotions, might learn to cloak their rage behind a mask of serenity. These foundational lessons, whether they were explicit teachings or silent observations, sculpt the contours of our adult reactions. Moving forward, let's wade into the rich tapestry of cultural norms and values. Across the globe, cultures have their unique choreographies when it comes to anger. In some, a fierce display is seen as a sign of strength, a roaring lion commanding respect, Yet, in others, restraint is celebrated with anger, likened to a passing storm cloud, observed but not engaged with. The dance of anger, then, is not merely personal, but is also swayed by the cultural music to which one is attuned. Lastly, let's cast our eyes upon the bustling stage of the modern world. Today we're surrounded by a cacophony of stressors. From the impatient honks in relentless traffic jams to the ever-tightening noose of workplace pressures. These seemingly mundane challenges often stoke the embers of our frustration. In an era of instant gratification, the simmering pot of delayed rewards, perceived slights, or unending demands can frequently boil over into outbursts of anger. Recognizing the myriad ways our environment and society mold our anger responses is akin to gaining a panoramic view from a mountaintop. It offers perspective. By understanding the myriad influences, we can begin to discern between the genuine voice of our emotion and the echoes of external pressures. With this clarity, we're not only empowered to react with more consciousness, but also to shape a more harmonious relationship with anger, one that resonates with our true self, rather than the cacophony of the world. The double-edged sword, anger's imprint on body and mind. As we continue our expedition into the intricate realms of anger, it becomes imperative to pause and reflect upon the footprints it leaves, not just on the sands of our emotional shores, but also on the bedrock of our physical and mental well-being. Like ripples on water, the waves of anger can reverberate far beyond the moment of their inception, with consequences that sometimes last a lifetime. Firstly, let's peer into the intricate machinery of our body, focusing on the heart and the vast network of vessels that sustain us. The cardiovascular system, a marvel of nature, is not immune to the tempests of our emotions. When anger strikes, it's akin to a sudden, forceful gust of wind surging through a once calm valley. The heart races, blood pressure mounts, and our vessels are subjected to increased strain. Over time, if these tempests are frequent and unrelenting, they can wear down the infrastructure. Like a bridge bearing the brunt of ceaseless storms, the risk of heart diseases and other related ailments can escalate. It's a somber testament to how deeply intertwined our emotions are with the very rhythms and pulses of our existence. Venturing beyond the physical, we enter the labyrinthine corridors of our mind, a space where anger can cast long, pervasive shadows. While anger, in moderation, can be a natural, even healthy response to challenges, its chronic presence becomes a different beast altogether. Imagine a room where anger is the constant, glaring light, leaving no corner untouched. In such an environment, the seeds of anxiety, depression, and other mental health challenges can sprout. When anger becomes the dominating narrative, it can eclipse other emotions, distort perceptions, and even shape our identity. It's not just about the singular moments of rage, but the cumulative burden of constant agitation, resentment, and hostility. Why delve into these somber repercussions? Because awareness is the first beacon of change. Recognizing the tangible toll that unchecked anger can take on our body and soul empowers us to seek balance. It invites introspection and prompts proactive measures, whether it's adopting calming techniques, seeking therapeutic interventions, or simply reevaluating the triggers in our lives. In acknowledging the shadows, we become better equipped to find the light. A state of being where anger, like every other emotion, finds its rightful, balanced place in our symphony of feelings. Navigating the storm, strategies for harnessing and harmonizing anger. In this intricate tapestry we've been weaving, exploring the myriad facets of anger, there comes a point when understanding must be complemented by action. Knowledge, they say, is power, but its true potency is realized when it's channeled into transformative steps. As we dive into the realm of coping and management, envision it as learning the art of sailing, where the winds of anger, though strong, can be harnessed to move forward with grace and precision. Our first lesson in this maritime journey is to become adept at reading the skies, recognizing the telltale signs that forewarn of a brewing storm. Translating this to our emotional landscape, it means identifying personal anger triggers. What are the situations, words, or actions that tend to stir the turbulent winds within? By pinpointing these catalysts, we prepare ourselves. Rather than being caught off guard by a sudden squall, we can anticipate, understand, and even navigate around these triggers, ensuring smoother sailing. Next, let's consider the role of mindfulness and meditation, the compass and anchor in our metaphorical voyage. In the midst of a tempest, a sailor finds direction using a compass and stability with an anchor. Similarly, mindfulness offers us the clarity to recognize our emotional currents without getting swept away. It's the practice of observing without judging, of witnessing anger without becoming it. Meditation, on the other hand, provides an anchor, grounding us. By dedicating moments to introspection, to breathing, and to being, we cultivate a sanctuary of calm, even in the stormiest of emotional seas. Lastly, armed with awareness and groundedness, we can employ tactical maneuvers to navigate our anger. Cognitive behavioral strategies, akin to adept sailing techniques, empower us to manage and redirect these emotional winds. By challenging and reshaping our thought patterns, by questioning the validity and utility of our anger, and by implementing behavioral changes, we learn to use the force of our feelings to propel us forward rather than capsize us. The journey of understanding and managing anger is not about negating or suppressing it. It's about becoming skillful sailors in the vast ocean of emotion. By recognizing our unique triggers, embracing mindfulness, and leveraging cognitive behavioral techniques, we ensure that anger, however potent, becomes a wind that fills our sails, driving us towards growth, understanding, and equilibrium. Towards a brighter horizon, embracing the dance with anger. As we draw the curtains on this enlightening journey through the landscapes of anger, it's vital to take a moment, not just to reflect, but to marvel. Anger, as we've seen, is not a mere fleeting emotion, but a tapestry woven through time, from the ancient beats of evolutionary survival to the complex rhythms of our modern-day triggers. It's a dance that every human, across epochs and eras, has partaken in. And as with any dance, it's not about avoiding missteps, but learning to move with grace and intent. Think back to the earliest chapters of our shared history, where the fiery spirit of anger acted as a protective shield, guarding our ancestors from threats and driving them forward against odds. Fast forward to today, and this very spirit continues to manifest, albeit in new avatars, whether it's the stressors of traffic jams, societal pressures, or the internal turmoil of unmet expectations. It's this very continuity, this age-old thread, that makes anger such a compelling facet of our human narrative. Now, armed with this newfound understanding, you stand on the precipice of potential. Imagine the empowerment that comes from not just understanding anger, but mastering it. It's akin to holding a map and compass in the vast terrain of emotion. And while our journey today has offered insights, remember that the world of self-discovery is vast and boundless. Each one of you has a unique dance with anger, with nuances and shades that are personally yours. Dive deeper, research more, and keep exploring your personal patterns, because in understanding lies the power to change. Lastly, let's not forget the bigger picture, our holistic well-being. Anger, left unchecked, can cast long shadows on both our mind and body. Yet, when harnessed and harmonized, it can be the very force that drives growth, fosters understanding, and propels positive change. So, as you step forward from here, do so with excitement, with zeal, and with a commitment to crafting a harmonious relationship with your anger. It's not just about mitigating the storms, but about catching the winds, setting the sails and steering towards brighter horizons. To each and every one of you, here's to the dance, the discovery, and the dazzling journey ahead.